Vybral som si názov príspevku, ktorý vlastne sa týka Imago Dei, to, čo vlastne tvorí základ židovskej, židokresťanskej kultúry Európy.
I chose this title because this is the basis for Judeo-Christian and Judaistic culture of Europe.
Základom pre tieto inšpirácie vlastne tvoria posvetné texty starovekého Izraela a hlavne to, čo sa nachádza v knihách Genesis, ako už povedal profesor Dura, ale aj myslím, že viacerí, ktorí ste sa dotkli týchto problémov, ktoré vlastne sa nachádzajú aj v ďalších knihách spisov Izraela.
So the very basis for the concept of Imago Dei in the Judaism are sacred texts, as we have them noted and written, especially in the Hebrew Bible, in the book of Genesis, and as some of you have mentioned before, also in other Old Testament sources, plus some sources from Judaistic literature that's not a part of the canon of the Bible.
Imago Dei teda spoznávame na základe relácií a vzťahov, ktoré vlastne vychádzajú z textov hebrejskej Biblie, a to sú vzťahy stvoriteľ, stvorenie, stvorenie a stvoriteľ a stvorenie a stvorenie.
We can realize what it means, what does it mean, the Imago Dei concept, on the basis of relations, so to speak, that we can observe in the Old Testament texts, and there are three different types of relations. The first relation is the creator towards the creation. Then the second relation is from the side of creation towards the creator. And the third part, or the third type of relations, is the creation among themselves, different types of creation among themselves.
Prvý ten vzťah, teda stvoriteľ a stvorenie, vlastne vyjadruje základnú tézu, že Boh je stvoriteľ všetkého.
The first type of relationships, creator and creation, is the basis for the thesis God is the creator of everything, absolute creator of everything.
Druhý vzťah, stvorenie a stvoriteľ, vlastne konštatuje to, že stvorenie je Božie rozhodnutie a Boží dar.
The second relationship, creation towards creator, offers an explanation or simply a statement that all the creation is God's gift and God's decision. It did not come by itself, but it was God's decision and will to make it happen.
Tretí vzťah medzi stvorením a stvorením a prostredím ukazuje, že Boh človeku zveruje celý svet a zveruje mu aj pokračovanie na Božom stvoriteľskom diele.
The third type of relationship points out that the world, the created world, so to speak, environment is given to human beings who are entitled or offered the possibility to continue in God's creative action.
Imago Dei sa vlastne tvorí na základe nasledujúcich téz. Prvou tézou je vlastne to, že človek je stvorený ako priorita, prvenstvo a vrchol zo všetkých stvorení.
So we can observe the basic thesis or the basic features of Imago Dei. The first one, human being is a priority. It's the top, the peak of God's creation.
Druhá časť je vlastne dôstojnosť človeka, ktorá vyplýva z tohto, že je stvorený Bohom. A samozrejme všetky nasledujúce vzťahy, ktoré človek tvorí. Boh a človek, muž a žena. A problém, ktorý tu vychádza práve ohľadom žien, práve v zlej historickej interpretácie práve Genesis 3.
The second one basically flows from the first one, and it's human dignity and relationships in which the human lives, and it's the relationship between God and human, then between man and woman, and we can observe also a problematic historical interpretation of the biblical text from Genesis 3, and the problem is wrong understanding of a woman and the role of women in the world.
Následne je to vzťah človek a prostredie.
The following one is human being and the environment.
Človek a spoločnosť ako spoločenská bytosť, kde sa týka to aj zmluvy, ktorá vychádza z textov hebrejskej Biblie ako pravidlá pre sociálne vzťahy, ktoré človek tvorí.
And the following one is a human being as a social being, living in certain conditions, social relations, according to some social rules that actually are rooted in the Hebrew Bible.
To všetko vlastne je predstavené svojou starovekou literárnou formou a tu vyplýva aj súčasný problém, že my starovekým textom nemôžeme hneď porozumieť, pretože sa pozeráme častokrát súčasnou optikou na texty, ktoré treba pozerať vlastne tou starovekou optikou, nie súčasnými kritériami.
The problem may arise by the interpretation of the ancient texts that use a very specific form of telling the story, and the problematic part is our intentions to read the ancient stories with the present day optics and understanding.
Prvá časť teda vyzdvihuje človeka ako prvenstvo, ako vrchol stvorenia, ktorý buduje svoje vzťahy. Tu je veľmi charakteristická veľkosť, človek stvorený na Boží obraz dosahuje najvyššiu dôstojnosť.
So let's go to the first thesis, human being as the priority, as the peak, the beam of God's creation, characterized by the greatness. All the creation is great and is good, and human being achieves the highest dignity.
Má osobitné teda postavenie, je akousi korunou tvorstva, dokáže viesť dialog so svojím stvoriteľom na rozdiel od iných stvorení a stáva sa Božím spolupracovníkom.
So it's the grand feature of a new human being being the crown of creation, so to speak, because the human being is given the highest priority and the highest role of being the co-worker, so to speak, on God's creation.
Prijíma úlohu priviesť tvorenú činnosť k plnosti.
And he accepts the role to lead the created world to perfection.
Samotná židovská antropológia pozerá na človeka cez Imago Dei v takýchto dvoch úrovniach. Prvá úroveň je to, že človek má spoločné to, čo majú aj anjeli, teda vedomie o sebe, spriamenosť a reč. Druhá časť je to, čo je dnes nazývané fyzické, a to je jedenie, pitie, plodenie a množenie a život.
So there are two ways at looking at the concept of Imago Dei and human being in Jewish thinking. The first feature is what do we have as humans in common with angels or angelic beings, and it's the notion of the self being straightened up and being able to speak. And then there are other concepts that connect us with animals, so to speak, or animal realm, and it's the gift of eating and drinking, the basic stuff for being alive, having children, and the life itself, like being an alive being.
V židovskej tradícii je tu práve rozum a myslenie, čím je človek podobný Bohu. Preto pre Židov je práve rozum tým, čo dáva nesmrteľnosť ľudskej duši. A je to spojovací prvok medzi človekom a Bohom.
So for the Jewish thinking, the ratio, the rational thinking is a very important feature of humans, because this is for them the highest feature that links us to God as His creation. That's why they give an importance to rational thinking in human existence, and this is actually the source of immortality for the human soul, and really a feature being a link, connective link between human and God.
Druhým aspektom je vlastne individualita človeka a práve individualita chápaná ako jedinečnosť, pretože je dielom Boha a z nej vyplýva aj fakt rovnosti medzi ľuďmi.
The second feature is the individuality of human being, because each human being is a unique creation, so to speak, having nothing in common with other unique creations. So each one in his her own uniqueness are equal. This is the basis for equality among people.
Z Imago Dei vlastne v hebrejskom myslení vyplýva dôstojnosť človeka, a to vo viacerých aspektoch.
The second feature of Imago Dei in Jewish thinking is the dignity of human being and relationships.
Prvým je napríklad jedinečnosť, to znamená, že človek je odlišný od iných stvorení, je originálny.
The first one is uniqueness of each human being. Each human being is original, distinct and different from the other unique human beings.
Má svoju autonómnosť, vlastní dušu a telo a tvorí jeden celok.
Each unique person is autonomous, having the body and the soul, and yet being unique and distinctive in this form of existence.
Je nositeľom myslenia a konania, teda všetky skutky sú skutky ľudské.
A human being is a vessel for thinking and acting. Each human being is able to act and to think.
Ďalším aspektom je sloboda ako atribút človeka spojená s chcením.
So another attribute is freedom, and this freedom is actually connected with the will.
Človek nesie zodpovednosť za svoje slobodné rozhodnutie.
We cannot omit the responsibility for each choice that was done freely.
Zodpovednosť tak nie je možné preniesť na inú osobu alebo na iné stvorenie.
So therefore the responsibility falls for each person separately. And if another person is not responsible for other human beings' decisions, each one is responsible for their own.
Ďalším aspektom je vlastne to, že ako jediné zo stvorení je povolaná vytvárať spoločenstvo.
A special feature of human being is that distincts them from other forms of creation is human beings are called to create a community.
Imago Dei sa v hebrejskom myslení objavuje aj vo vzťahu človek a prostredie.
We can find the features of Imago Dei also in the concept of human being and the environment.
Človek prijíma poslanie podmaniť si zem.
Human being accepts the God's command to rule over the earth.
Získava právo na hospodárenie sveta.
They gain the right to the stewardship over the earth.
Je správcom, nie univerzálnym vlastníkom.
Human being is a steward, not the owner of the world.
Správa nad zemou súvisí s dodržiavaním určitých pravidiel a zodpovedností.
Ruling over the world means to keep certain rules and receive the responsibility.
Povolanie tvoriť a pracovať človeku ostáva aj po prvotnej neposlušnosti.
Even though the first human beings were irresponsible and not really obedient, all of us are still called to work and create, so to speak.
A stále je tu cieľ, prvotný cieľ a zámer priviesť stvorenú činnosť k plnosti.
And the first goal remains all the same, to lead or to have all the creative action leading to fulfillment.
V židovstve tak vlastne prevláda mienka, že Izrael a Židia sú zodpovední za svet.
Therefore, Israelites lived in this understanding of being responsible for the whole world.
A z toho vyplývajú aj ďalšie aspekty, ako patrili sobotné roky, jubilejné roky v dejinách Izraela.
So there are special moments in the history of Jewish nation expressing this responsibility of Sabbath years, which express that the whole earth belongs to God, and Jubilees years, and it's an expression of the whole universe, everything created belongs to God.
Najväčším teda vyjadrením vzťahu k prostrediu bolo slávenie sviatkov.
Maybe the most clear expression of this idea is having special occasions celebrated by the Jewish believers.
Imago Dei sa rovnako transformuje aj do spoločenských situácií a sociálnych vzťahov prostredníctvom zmluvy a zákona, ktorá tvorí centrum hebrejskej Biblie.
We can observe human being as a social being as a result of the Imago Dei in human beings, and this is the best expressed in the testament and rules that have been given to the human beings.
Pravidlá, známe ako dekalóg, sú na to, aby zachovali dôstojnosť človeka.
The rules, known as the Decalogue, the Ten Commandments, are given to the human beings to protect her dignity.
Dekalóg vlastne určuje právne, obradné a morálne zákony medzi ľuďmi.
Decalogue is the basis for legal, moral and ethical rules within the Jewish society.
Má univerzálny charakter, v ktorom sú vlastne postavené všetky etické princípy a právne predpisy v súčasnej spoločnosti.
But we can observe that the Decalogue is not only for the Jewish nation, it has, so to speak, universal character, which applies to all the nations and all the people in the world in the contemporary society.
Imago Dei tak vlastne je typické, že sa v starovekom Izraeli aj v súčasnom predstavuje cez rôzne literárne formy rozprávania.
We can observe Imago Dei in Judaism through various forms of stories that have been preserved from ancient times.
Preto napríklad pre Židov sú typické, že existujú nejaké rozprávania rabínov, príbehy, stories, kde sa vlastne prostredníctvom nich podáva nejaké know-how, poučenia a dôležitá informácia.
Jews liked to tell stories very much as a basis for conveying an important rule or a certain code of behavior for the next generations.
Ja som na záver vybral jednu časť z knihy Genesis, známa ako vo vzťahu Jozef a jeho bratia, ktoré je síce staroveké rozprávanie, ale prináša v súčasnosti mnohé inšpirácie pre súčasnosť.
I have chosen one example, and it's a story of Joseph and his brothers, as is written in the Genesis in chapters 35 to 37. It is an ancient story, but we can find contemporary ideas that we are struggling with in this story, and we can compare the situations back then and now.
Problém, ktorý tu vyplýva, je samotný fakt formy rozprávania, pretože kým v súčasnosti človek ho vníma len v nejakom tom behu, v rýchlosti, tak v staroveku vlastne rozprávania slúžili na to, že sa od nich ľudia premýšľali.
So the first thing that we struggle with is the form of the storytelling, or the art of the storytelling. If we tell stories nowadays, it's very fast and so to speak shallow. But in the past, when the story was told, there was a certain time for deep reflection over the ideas of the story.
V prípade vo vzťahu biblického rozprávania Jozefa a jeho bratia máme niekoľko veľmi zaujímavých tém, ktoré toto staroveké rozprávanie prináša.
We can find very interesting topics in this story, And we can see that these topics really appeal to us even today.
Napríklad, čo spôsobí, ak v rodine je preferovanie jedného z detí? Väčšinou najmladší, tak je najobľúbenejší.
So one interesting topic is what happens if one of the children in the family are preferred. Usually in our culture it's the youngest one who is the most favorite and preferred. What does it mean for the relationships of siblings and parents?
Druhou témou, ktorú prináša toto rozprávanie je, ak sa súrodenecká rivalita nerieši v rámci rodiny, čo môže spôsobiť nenávisť ostatných súrodencov.
The second topic could be the rivalry between the siblings. What if the siblings, so to speak, compete with each other and no one is solving this? What can happen if the rivalry goes beyond borders?
Treťou témou je zneužívanie detí. Samotný Jozef je predaný obchodníkom ako otrok.
The third topic may be the abuse of children. Joseph himself was sold by his brothers as a slave to Egypt.
Jozef neskôr sa stáva správcom faraónovho úradníka a spravuje mu teda celý majetok, kde zažije sexuálne obťažovanie zamestnaných, než moderne povedal.
So later Joseph gets out of the prison and becomes a steward in the high officer's house, and he experiences sexual abuse while working there.
Tým, že Jozef odmietne neetické a nemorálne veci, má z toho problémy.
And since Joseph decides to behave morally and correctly according to the law, problems arrive to his life.
I hate to interrupt, but I think we have time for 1 minute something.
Hej, už končíme.
This is the last one.
Krivé obvinenie, rovnaká téma v tejto situácii.
He is convinced wrongly about being wrong.
Nevinný končí vo väzení.
And even though he's innocent, he ends up in prison.
Sú to problémy, ktoré má človek kvôli presvedčeniu.
And these problems flow from a person's inner faith or moral standards.
To rozprávanie ide ďalej a ponúka možnosti uzdravenia zranení získaných v rodine.
So the story goes on then and offers solution and cure for the abuse that happened in the family.
Odpustenie násilia.
Forgiveness of abuse.
A tiež videnie veci v živote v širšej perspektíve.
And offers the possibility to see life from a broader perspective.
A takto teda tie rozprávania sú nositeľmi trvalých významov.
So in this way the stories are the bearers of permanent meaning for human beings, permanent values.
Ktoré objasňujú Imago Dei.
And on the basis of these values we can see the Imago Dei, the image of Imago Dei.
Super. Thank you, Daniel, for introducing to us the wealth of the Hebrew thinking on this topic. It's highly relevant as a foundation, I would say. I think we can basically continue from where you stopped, and that is to try to do the bridge now from the kind of interpretation that you offer of the Hebrew thinking, the summary of their teaching on Imago Dei, but also on how through stories, through narratives, they instill values and instill a certain vision of life among the new generations of people. Yeah? They continue molding human character through the stories that they retell, and then the values continue to be valid in the human community. So I wonder how these narratives, how these stories can be retold in our new age, in the technologically advanced age. So as we face these challenges of transhumanism, where do you see the value and potential of this Hebrew approach to help us preserve the right approach or the right image of who is a human person?
Kde vidíš práve ten prístup v týchto príbehoch, v tejto dobe transhumanizmu a nových technológií, ako môžu prispieť vlastne k uchovaniu ľudskosti alebo ako ich transformovať do dnešnej doby, tak aby podporovali základ ľudských
I think that the problem is that the current situation is that man is the number, not man. This is problem. We have numbers. I am number, not man, and this is problem. Current situation in the world.
Yeah. But we are still storytelling animals. Humans continue to be storytelling animals. Even those who are sometimes labeled as numbers or who think of others as numbers, we still tell stories. We still tell myths. Yeah.
And I think that for example, if you are on the billboard, it's okay, but if not billboard, it's euthanasia or others for it because you are for society
burden.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. It was a historical and theological. Thank you. What is your opinion? What do you think that regarding the Jewish origins in our days? What is their attitude regarding the transhumanism?
Či Židia v súčasnosti majú nejaký názor na transhumanizmus?
I think that for Jews it's problem transhumanism.
It's a problem.
Yes, it's problem because not exist the same way for this problem.
Yeah.
The rabbins or Jewish rabbins is stay for the basic of the rule of the Bible, every Bible, and this is for them sure
Like assurance.
assurance.
That's a certain point.
Yes.
That's really firm.
Everything is experiment.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Other comments or questions?
I missed the last point. Everything is experiment. Sorry.
Poslednú vetu, keby si mohol zopakovať, lebo si ma nebol kábel. For Jewish rabbis?
For Jewish rabbis is they stay for the Bible text for Jewish people is sure.
Certain. It's
To
like a
understand
done
Yeah.
thing.
everything, and transhumanism for them is experiment.
In this sense, yeah.
Experiment, but we don't know now to say the results.
I see. Yeah. Get your point.
You know, maybe Michael mentioned, the phrase of McIntyre, storytelling animals. And McIntyre is arguing after virtue, that you cannot understand the human identity without story.
Nemôžeš porozumieť ľudskej
So
identite
all
bez
other,
príbehu.
all other ways, according to some physiological identity or to the memory,
Čiže všetky
that
ostatné
we
veci,
remember,
taká fyziologická,
fails. For instance, only the
časná
narrative
prevencia, identita,
narrative
pamäť,
approach
to všetko
can
zlyháva.
really help us or make possible to us to grasp our identity. For
Nám
instance,
môže
if
pomôcť
I
pochopiť
take
našu
Oksana
identitu.
and genetical code is not a solution,
Yeah.
memory, psychological factors
Čiže
not
ak
a
si zoberieme
solution.
konkrétneho
But
človeka,
if I
genetické
tell this
nie je
story,
riešením,
which connects, I don't know, the 5 years old girl
ale
was
keď
playing
mám príbeh,
from the house,
že
with
toto
this
5-ročné
mature
dievčatko
lady,
sa hralo
now,
s touto dámou,
then this is a Roxanne.
tak toto
And
je
if
to,
I
že
don't have the story about her,
ak
I have
nemám
a problem
o nej
with
nejaký
her
príbeh,
identity. If I don't have the story because of the illness, for instance, for myself, I am in
tento
trouble.
príbeh nemôžem
So this is the story of Catholic philosopher MacIntyre. So my question is something similar can be found in Jewish tradition? That they have reasons for stressing the importance of narrative. Reason 1, reason 2, reason 3, and so on. It's something similar like MacIntyre's grounding of the importance of the storytelling in Judaism, because Judaism is narrative, Before Judaism there was no history in human history. There is no history in strict sense in Aristotle. So you can understand Aristotle's work without history. But without history you cannot understand Judaism or Christianity. It's absolutely close. So I assume that somehow, maybe implicitly, is this reason present. So I'm just interested in this.
Yes, I think that it's true that for Jewish stories to help to understand me, my work, my relationships, and my place in the world.
Can you give us some references, maybe in which text or whatever?
Textov biblických.
It's all Hebrew Bible because the Bible personalism is speak about the God at the moment, speak about the man. This is a relation in Old Testament together. If we speak about God, at the moment we speak about the man. If we speak about the man, we speak about God. This relation is very strong.
One other aspect I would like to add, and thank you for this answer, also a great question, but one other aspect that perhaps we can notice and we can draw some inspiration from it is that the Jews connect storytelling with rituals.
Mm-hmm.
So it becomes a richer experience for the children, for example. Yes, so when the father sits with his household around the table and he tells about the story of, let's say, the deliverance of the Hebrews from Egypt, they eat a certain kind of food and there's always a ritual. Yeah? So they experience partially, sort of,
Bodily.
So bodily, yeah, and they eat the food and this ritual is important.
The bodies absorb the narrative.
Yes, so it's an embodied narrative and it becomes more stronger, it becomes a more foundational experience for the people. So maybe this is some inspiration we can draw from the Jewish tradition. This importance of ritual and narrative in shaping our identity. Our narrative identity. I think this would be fascinating for you to explore more. This would be wonderful.
Yes, because it's not only that you hear some stories, you see, hear, and
you participate.
Yes, you are a member of community. It's everything to help you to understand your position in the world.
But of course, today we have Facebook, so we can go on Facebook. Okay, thank you so much. Do you have a question or a comment?
On the question, Professor Johan,
Yeah, please.
I think that Jewish people have a very big problem with transhumanism. Very bad experience with eugenics.
Oh, yes.
Eugenics and modification and hodowanie narodu, czyszczenie narodu. sociální darwinism.
Yeah, social Darwinism was actually a killing of nation, killing of dignity of the nation. Yeah, they are very deeply wounded, especially Jews during the Second World War, because Holocaust.
This was one of the
and eugenism was basically one of the main Hitler ideas. And he was doing huge experiments, very immoral
Na
experiments.
druhej strane veľa bohatých Židov, amerických Židov, a to nie je konšpirácia teraz, Rockefeller nadácia a iné, podporovali eugenické projekty. Super.
Yeah. And on the other hand, a lot of rich Jewish, for instance, Rockefeller Foundation was supporting these eugenic projects, and it's not just some conspiracy, but it's based on facts.
Yeah. I wonder if it was a natural expression of their Jewish identity, or if it was going against their Jewish identity. And it was just a money issue. Okay, thank you.
Či to bolo len etnicky alebo aj náboženské.
And Daniel is adding one important moment. They may have been ethnically Jews, but their thinking may have been changed and was no longer in accordance with Jewish tradition.
Yeah, true. Thank you again, Daniel. And the last presenter in this